Hello and welcome to the session on Great Medieval Philosophers, St. Augustine of Hippo. In the last few units, you have studied the origins, characteristics, features, central themes and philosophical doctrines of the medieval philosophy. You have seen that many great thinkers of the Middle Ages contributed to the development of medieval philosophy. In the next few units, we will learn more about some of the notable philosophers of the medieval period. We will begin with a great thinker who is often regarded as the last classical man and the first medieval man, St. Augustine of Hippo. St. Augustine was an early Christian theologian and defender of Christian faith. Modern historians consider his works and writings as having great influence on both Western philosophy and Western theology. He was popularly known as Augustine of Hippo because he was the bishop of Hippo Regius, a region situated in the Roman province of Africa. He is also regarded as the greatest of the church fathers who lived and wrote during the patristic period. His works can be seen as a combination of the Greek philosophical tradition and the Christian scriptural tradition. The influence of his works lasted for several centuries up to the modern period across the entire European world. A biographical sketch of St. Augustine. St. Augustine was born in AD 354 in the city of Tagaste, which was located in the Roman North African province. He lived in a period when paganism was declining and Christianity was spreading throughout the Western Europe. His father, whose name was Patricius, was a pagan who worshipped Roman gods, but his mother Monica was a follower of Christianity. At the age of 17, his parents sent him to Carthage to continue his education in rhetoric. Although his mother was a Christian, his first strong religious influence was not Christianity. When he was young, he followed Manichaeism, which was a major Gnostic religion of that period. It should also interest you to know that Augustine, who later became the most renowned theologian and Christian philosopher, led a hedonistic life when he was young. He fell for the pleasures of the world and even began a love affair with a woman in Carthage. According to history, he had a son in that woman, though he never married that woman. Early career and conversion to Christianity. After receiving training in rhetoric, Augustine began his career by teaching grammar in the city of Tagaste at the age of 20. He then went to Carthage to conduct a school of rhetoric. It is believed that he remained there for 9 years till AD 383 before he moved to Rome to establish a school. Augustine was disappointed with the Roman schools, and in AD 384 he took up the job of a teacher of rhetoric in the imperial court at Milan when he was 30 years old. During this period, he started moving away from the influence of Manichaeism and got converted to Christianity. The person who had a lasting influence on Augustine was Bishop Ambrose of Milan, who was also a master of rhetoric. In AD 386, Augustine converted to Christianity after reading a passage from the Bible. He became a changed man and gave up the lifestyle of sexual indulgence. In AD 391, Augustine was appointed as a priest in Hippo Regius, and in AD 395 he was ordained as the bishop. Since then, he was known as the Augustine of Hippo, and he remained in that position till his death. St. Augustine became a renowned preacher and worked with great dedication among people of Hippo, especially during the troubling period when the Roman Africa crumbled away under the attack of Germanic tribes. He died on 28 August 430 and was buried in the city's cathedral. In 8th century, his remains were moved to Pavia in Italy. Augustine's tomb is now in St. Peter's Church in Pavia. Major influences of St. Augustine. Although Augustine inaugurated a new era of thought through his philosophical and theological reasoning, he was influenced by a number of philosophical traditions and thinkers of the classical period. The major influences on St. Augustine were Stoicism, Platonism and Neoplatonism. St. Augustine had deep knowledge of Stoicism and he used it with discrimination. it has been observed that he showed sympathy towards the Stoic doctrine of apatheia. In Stoic philosophy, apatheia denotes a state of mind where a person is not disturbed by his passions. We have already seen that Neoplatonism was a chief influence on many thinkers of the early medieval period. Augustine was not an exception. Although Augustine later abandoned Neoplatonism, its influence can be found in his early writings. Historians often refer to St. Augustine as a Platonist, but it should be noted that he became familiar with Platonist views through the writings of Plotinus. Augustine is credited as the thinker who combined Christianity with Neoplatonism and is often referred to as the founder of Christian Neoplatonism. Apart from these major philosophical traditions, Augustine was also influenced by the works of Virgil, his teaching on language, Cicero, his teaching on argument, and Aristotle, his rhetoric and poetics. Augustine's influence on later philosophers. Just as Augustine was influenced by a number of philosophies and philosophers of the classical period, he influenced the works of many later philosophers across Europe. Modern philosophers such as Schopenhauer, Kierkegaard, and Nietzsche focused on Aristotle's notion of human free will. Thomas Aquinas was profoundly influenced by Augustine. The works and philosophy of St. Augustine inspired Reformation theologians such as Martin Luther and John Calvin. Augustine's theory that God exists outside of time in the eternal present was accepted and followed by later Catholic theologians. Modern phenomenology and hermeneutics were influenced greatly by his descriptive approach to intentionality, memory, and language. Martin Heidegger refers to Augustine's descriptive philosophy in his masterpiece Being and Time. Augustine's philosophical method and legacy had a lasting impact on continental philosophy throughout the 20th century. According to scholars, the secular projects and traditions of the Enlightenment, Marxism, Freudianism, and eco-fundamentalism were influenced by Augustine's idea of the heavenly city, proposed in the City of God. His ideas have also inspired many works on political philosophy. Post-Marxist philosophers Antonio Negri and Michael Hart wrote a famous book on political philosophy titled Empire, which was influenced by the ideas Augustine proposed in the City of God. Major works of St. Augustine. St. Augustine wrote more than 100 separate titles. All his works were written in Latin language. His works are of diverse nature. They include apologetic writings, texts on Christian doctrine, exegetical works such as commentaries, many sermons and letters. Augustine is best known for his work titled Confessions, which is a personal account of his earlier life. The City of God is yet another best known work written with the aim of restoring the confidence of his fellow Christians. On the Trinity, which is regarded by many one of the greatest theological works of all time, is yet another masterpiece of St. Augustine. In his On Free Choice of the Will, he addressed the question of why God gives humans free will that can be used for evil. After he got converted into Christianity, he wrote the work titled Against the Academics, in which he critiqued the philosophical school of skepticism. In the Catholic and Manichaean ways of life, he dealt with the themes of ethics. His analysis of the concepts of knowledge and language can be found in On the Teacher. Now, we will take a deeper look at two of his major works which influenced Western philosophy and theology enormously. Those two books are Confessions and the City of God. Confessions. Augustine wrote his masterpiece Confessions between AD 397 and AD 398 after he became the Bishop of Hippo. It is considered as the first work of autobiography in Western literature. In this, he gives Confessions is autobiographical in nature. Many philosophical passages can also be seen in it. The context. Before he got converted into Christianity, Augustine led a life of indulgence and followed the religion of Manichaeism. When he became the Bishop of Hippo, he faced criticism because of this past. His critics expressed their doubts that whether Augustine was the right man to become a bishop. According to historians, Augustine wrote Confessions partly in response to such criticism. In the book, he openly confessed the mistakes he did in the past, praised God and rejected his earlier belief in Manichaeism. Structure. There are 13 books in Confessions which outline his life, sinful youth and his conversion to Christianity. Book 1 starts with his childhood to the age of 15. His hedonistic life and sexual indulgence are described in the first few books. His spiritual journey, during which he seeks personal happiness, is narrated in books 6 and 7. Book 8 is the most important one, in which he describes his conversion to Christianity. The rest of the books contain the story of his life after conversion and baptism, and his reflections on the book of Genesis, goodness of God and meaning of time. Major themes. According to literary critics, in Confessions, Augustine expands the idea of autobiography and makes it into a separate genre. In this book, he not only constructs a view of God, but also creates a new concept of individual identity and subjectivity. Self-presentation and self-realization are the two processes through which this identity is achieved. Augustine creates a literary character out of the self and places it in a narrative text. This book is not merely an account of his life. In it, Augustine blends consciousness with experience. He is both an observer and a character in his own story, and he revealed his private self in the book. One of the most important and powerful themes of the book is the journey of the self towards completeness. The City of God. Context. AD 410 is a crucial point in the history of the West. In that year, a Germanic tribe named Vandals conquered the city of Rome. They destroyed the city by looting its wealth and killing its inhabitants. Rome was known as the Eternal City because the Romans thought that it would never fall. But the capture of the city shattered this belief to its core and ultimately led to the decline of the Roman Empire. It was a time Christianity was taking roots in Rome, but there still were people who believed in the older pagan culture. They blamed Roman Christians, saying that Rome fell because the Christians forsake Roman gods by following Christianity. Moreover, the entire Christian faith came under attack from the pagan believers because the fall of Rome was seen as the failure of the Christian God. St. Augustine wrote The City of God in this political context, and the purpose of the book was to remind the Roman Christians that their true city was never Rome. He assured them that their true city is heaven itself, which is an eternal city. Historians are of the opinion that Augustine elaborated his political theory through the City of God. Structure. The book can be divided into two parts. Part 1, he offers a critique of Roman culture and pagan philosophy. In Part 2, Augustine shifts from criticism to positing a coherent account of the relationship between the city of God and the city of man. It was written as an attempt to explain Christianity's relationship with competing religions and philosophies of the time. Augustine reassured the Roman Christians by writing that even if the earthly cities collapse, the city of God will ultimately triumph. They systematically refuted all the charges raised by pagans against Christians for the fall of Rome. He demonstrated that the fall of Rome was not a unique event in the history of humans. Major themes. He expressed his view that human history is a conflict between the city of man and the city of God. In this conflict, the city of God will take victory over the city of man. He went on to make a distinction between people who dedicate themselves to Christian faith and those who are slaves to earthly pleasures. The city of God symbolized people who committed themselves to the eternal truths of the Christian God. The city of man, on the other hand, includes people who are concerned about the worldly pleasures. In the city of God, he attempted to create a theology of history. He tried to offer an explanation of history that starts with creation itself. Then he went on to explain the chaos and turmoil of man-made states, which he called the city of the world. Finally, he explained how kingdom of God, the city of God, can be realized. He promoted a linear view of history in which history has a purpose and is headed towards a divinely appointed completion. It tried to explain historical events in connection with their true causes. In addition to this, it deals with the nature of time, the reality of human suffering and the true meaning of success. Augustine stated that the purpose of history is to unfold God's grand plan, and he argued that in that plan the fall of Rome is insignificant. The city of God can be seen as the completion of the project he started in Confessions. In Confessions, he tried to trace the progress of the self toward completion in God. Similarly, in the city of God, he showed how human society can find completion in the city of God. Philosophical themes of St. Augustine. In his works, Augustine dealt with many themes and thoughts. Like many of the thinkers of the medieval period, he also took up themes such as faith and reason, the problem of evil, the question of sin, and the problem of free will versus divine predetermination. This module will offer you an overview of the major philosophical themes and ideas of Augustine. The problem of evil. This, we have seen in the previous units, was a major concern of the medieval philosophers and Christian theologians. Augustine's ideas on this problem changed Western philosophy forever. Once he became a follower of Christ, Augustine tried to deal with the problem of evil. He argued that evil exists because humans have free will. God has given humans the free will to choose their actions and deeds. He stated that evil is an inevitable result of such choices. Secondly, the evil humans create through their free will is only a deprivation of goodness. In other words, the evil that humans create through their free will is the absence of good and not a substantive evil in itself. Faith and reason. Throughout the medieval period, philosophers and theologians were divided on the issue of the relation between faith and reason. Augustine was the first philosopher who tried to reconcile faith and reason. Disagreeing with his predecessors who adopted a faith-only position, he considered faith as an indispensable element in knowledge. He argued that knowledge begins with faith and acts as a foundation for knowledge. Thus, he proposes that faith and reason are not in conflict with each other, but instead complement one another. Augustine also maintained the view that while reason does not cause faith, but it supports faith. The intellectual inquiry into the faith should be understood as faith-seeking understanding, a famous formula associated with his name. In his famous work titled On Christian Doctrine, he argued that Christian theologians should use reason while interpreting the scriptures. Christian doctrines complete, illuminate and transform secular learning by offering answers to some of the most important questions in human life. These ideas of Augustine influenced St. Anselm of Canterbury, who stated that, "I believe in order that I might understand." Ex nihilo nihil fit. Another famous doctrine of St. Augustine was ex nihilo nihil fit, which is known as out of nothing, nothing comes. The Neoplatonist thinker Plotinus had proposed that everything is created out of necessary and eternal emanation from God. Augustine rejected this doctrine, arguing that God created everything out of free act. God acts independent of any force, hence he created the universe from nothing. Divine illumination. Augustine's theory of knowledge was based on the doctrine of divine illumination. He maintained the view that human knowledge is dependent on God. According to the nature of human being is so limited that it can't comprehend many important truths, especially divine truths and religious faithfulness. He believed that God illuminates the human mind and makes divine truths clear to humans. Thus, human knowledge is directly dependent upon God. By illuminating human minds, God enables humans to see the truths. In Confessions, he wrote, "The mind needs to be enlightened by light from outside itself so that it can participate in truth, because it is not itself the nature of truth. You will light my lamp, Lord." Nature of time. Augustine was the first philosopher who developed a theory on the nature of time. He rightly observed that even though we experience time and are familiar with it, we find it difficult to explain what exactly it is. As he wrote in Confessions, "What then is time? If no one asks me, I know. If I wish to explain it to someone that asks, I do not know." Time can be viewed either as an objective matter, that is, time is part of the external nature of the world, or as a subjective matter, that is, time exists only as a product of our minds. Augustine held the view that time has no meaning apart from our minds. When human beings talk about the past, present and future, all those three moments should be connected to the present moment. The past involves memories we have in the present, so it should be called the present of things past. The future involves only mental anticipations of what might come, so it should be called the present of things future. Augustine was a towering figure throughout the Middle Ages, and he shaped medieval philosophy as no one else did. His influences can be seen in the works of later philosophers, and theological ideas shaped Christian theology massively. It should be noted that he was not a philosopher by training or profession, and it is not possible to consider his writing as purely philosophical. However, he indeed was a lover of wisdom, and his ideas and thoughts triggered intellectual activities for many centuries. Let us summarize the main ideas in the session. St. Augustine of Hippo is one of the most noted philosophers of the 4th century. Though he belongs to the patristic period, many scholars include him among medieval thinkers. Though he was a follower of Manichaeism in his youth, he later accepted Christianity and became the bishop of Hippo. He contributed to both philosophy and theology by writing on relationship between faith and reason, theory of knowledge, nature of time, the problem of evil, and several other topics of theology. He is best known for his masterpiece, Confessions, which is regarded as the first autobiography in Western literature. Another major work of Augustine is The City of God, in which he defended Christian faith. It is also argued that Augustine proposed his philosophy of history in his The City of God. He was the first philosopher who attempted to reconcile faith and reason by arguing that reason can complement matters of faith. His doctrine of divine illumination put forward the idea that humans can acquire knowledge on many important truths only if God makes it happen through divine illumination. Similarly, he proposed that free will is the cause of evil. His theological ideas shaped Western theology in a radical manner. Here are a few questions for you. Hope that you will try to answer them. What is the importance of St. Augustine in the history of medieval philosophy? How did Augustine respond to the problem of evil? What is Augustine's theory on the nature of time? What was the historical context in which The City of God was written? What are the major themes discussed in The City of God? What is the notion of self or subjectivity presented in the Confessions? How were later philosophers and thinkers influenced by Augustine's writings and ideas? What are the major works of St. Augustine? Now, you can go through the books for reference. A History of Philosophy, Volume 2, Medieval Philosophy, From Augustine to Duns Scotus, by Frederick Copleston, The Newman Press, Westminster, in 1950. The Routledge History of Philosophy, Volume 3, The Middle Ages, edited by John Mereborn, Routledge, London, in 1998. Medieval Philosophy, Routledge Encyclopedia of Philosophy, by Scott MacDonald and Norman Cressman, edited by E. Craig, Routledge, London, in 1998. A Companion to Philosophy in the Middle Ages, edited by George J. E. Garcia and Timothy B. Noon, Blackwell Publishing, Berlin, in 2002. The A to Z of Medieval Philosophy and Theology, by Stephen F. Brown and Juan Carlos Flores, Scarecrow Press, United Kingdom, in 2010. Encyclopedia of Medieval Philosophy, Philosophy between 500 and 1500, Volume 1, edited by Peter Adamson and Henrik Lagerlund, Springer, New York, in 2011. Thank you for watching this program. We can meet again with another topic. Take care.